What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 7 of Girls Who Bet. I'm Erin Dolan, joined by the fabulous Liv Mood. So many sports going on. We're going to get right into it. And then we have a special guest coming on just a little bit later in the show. So stick around for that. And shout out to all the people in the YouTube chat already saying that they're here, saying, let's go, Annie. That is who we're going to be bringing on. But Liv, I know you got some
Yeah.
bets in the NBA right now. You're sweating them out before this. You look a little stressed.
Yeah, let's just start by saying KCP, I was warned about him when I placed this bet. A lot of people were like, he's very streaky. As of now, he's played 11 minutes of basketball with 0 points on the board, so not loving that. And Jarrett Allen, I took his rebounds, and he has 0 right now. So not loving that, but it's
It was
okay.
kind of risky for you to even dabble in that prop market because it's the first game.
Oh, I know. I'm a risk taker, but I will say Zach LaVine, I was nervous about him at first. He is now heating up all the way up, and I took
Love
over
it.
24 and a half, and he has 23 right now, and it's only the third quarter. So that was a solid move on my part. But other than that, we'll sweat him out as the show goes. If you see me
Yeah.
react, it's because one of my props is falling apart.
I know. I have the Flyers game on here. I have the Detroit Pistons game on, or in front of me. I have so many things going on. I tweeted out earlier some of the plays that I liked. Pacers money line. They're up right now against the Hornets. I also like Pistons +5. They're only up by 1 right now, so we'll be sweating that in the fourth quarter. And I also like the Wizards +3. They're up by 20 points right now, but again, just the second quarter. So a lot of things can happen,
A
especially the
lot of
second half of
time.
these games.
Yeah, there's a
Yes,
lot of
lots
time.
of time. And then with the Nuggets, I took them to cover +6.5 against the Suns.
Woo!
But that game's at 10 o'clock. So I will be probably waking up to seeing the results of
I
that.
was going to say, you're braver than me. That's my own team, and I did not touch it with a 10-foot pole. I couldn't take it. I was like, mm-mm. After watching them get swept by the Suns, I think I have a little bit of PTSD. So I was like,
They did well during the regular season
they
last year.
did.
But yeah,
No, they
being
did.
swept by in the postseason was
Yeah.
not great.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But it is
I'm
what it is.
excited to have the NBA back. Lots of
I
props every day,
am
lots of games.
pumped. I cannot wait. I'm very excited. Yeah, I really love the player prop market for the NBA. I was talking with Alex Monaco, who I do a show with on Tuesdays, and he brought up a great point that I just kind of failed to remember. And he's like, this is such a like superstar driven league where it's like you kind of know going into each game who to look at, and that makes it easier. But it does and it doesn't. Like you think you know who's going to pop off and they may not, but I think
Yeah.
player props in the NBA are super fun. I
Especially when you
prefer
have
them.
3 good players on a team or something like that. You just don't know
Right.
which one's gonna go off. The
Right.
Celtics, for example, last season were like that. I hated betting any player props on
That
anyone.
was my least. I literally middle of the year told myself I am not betting on the Celtics. They played Russian roulette with
They
which
did.
player was going to be having a night, so I couldn't handle it anymore and I stopped betting on them. But yeah, I mean, if you look at a team like the Wizards, obviously like a guy like Bradley Beal,
Mhm.
you've only got one guy that kind of holds down the fort. It makes it easier. But either way, I'm very pumped the NBA is back. Very
I
pumped.
know. Last night was
Last
opening
night's
night,
game, yeah, I was gonna
which
say
was
last night we
awesome.
had some fun games. That was exciting. Our Bucks, girls who bet best
Yes.
bet, Bucks money line was a success.
That bounced around so much. It would be plus money, be minus money, plus money, minus money, and then obviously they were able to get it done. I think the whole Kyrie situation is not helping the Nets. I was a little surprised it was that much. It wasn't a blowout, but I mean, they ruled that whole game.
No, they did. And I think it's one of those things too where this Nets team is just going to need a little bit of time to warm up and kind of acclimate without Kyrie Irving. I think that he
Mhm.
was such a dominant person on this roster, and a lot of the offense was kind of directed through him. And he was just, he was a person on this team that was pretty reliable in a big sense, especially when getting points on the board. So they're going to have to readjust. And I'm not sure how they're going to handle that. But in my opinion, Kyrie's got to go. I think this whole in and out thing, the Nets just need to move forward with their season and realize that there's a roster full of people that showed up, did their job, want to work hard, want to play. And that needs to be what the focus is, not Kyrie and
Yeah.
whatever he's doing.
Well, speaking of just the main distractions, Ben Simmons obviously being kicked out of practice did not help. And it stinks that it's not a year later where we could potentially pick up a Bradley Beal or even be in talks with James Harden or even trading for Kyrie, which at this point, just because since he's not vaccinated, he could technically play in Philly.
Right.
Anything to help this team. I mean, they're playing right now. They're only up by 4 against Pelicans at the end of the first quarter. I took 76ers -3. But still, the distraction, the fact we're still talking about it, and national news every day is still talking about Ben Simmons
I know.
is so aggravating. I mean, it's episode 7. I think we've talked about this the last 4 episodes.
And that's just it. It's, in my opinion, the regular season has started. It's done. Like, if you're Ben Simmons, if you're going to show up to practice and have the nerve to say no to Doc Rivers when he asks you to do something, bye. There's the door.
That's
Don't let
also
him turn the
just
way
so
out.
embarrassing from like so many different levels. I don't know. I don't get. I don't know.
Well,
Like his
remember,
teammates are now saying, "What's he fighting for?" I don't even know at this point what he's fighting for. Obviously, he's fighting for the trade, but at the same
right.
time, it's like, buddy, you're not that good.
Or yeah, no. And I remember a few weeks back when we had Ariel on the show, I was talking about his attitude being the issue. And I think now we're seeing it more than ever. I had called him a spoiled brat, and that's exactly how he's acting. He shows up to practice and doesn't want to do what the coach is telling him to do. That's just not how this works. He's got a
I mean,
very
you can see it
selfish
on his face.
attitude.
He's like shuffling. He's not even wearing the uniforms like everybody else with the jersey over top. It's the whole. He wouldn't go to the huddle. He's shooting the ball around. Apparently, was there something like he had his phone in his pocket or something too? I think I saw something about
Probably.
that.
He's probably done everything that you could possibly do wrong. And that's the thing though, is I think it's kind of his way of saying, I don't want to be here. Get rid of me. He's like the little teenager that's like rebelling so that they can get what they want. That's what it
Well, he
feels
didn't
like
want to
to me.
talk to the media, which is ridiculous. You think that if you felt this strongly, you would go to the media and say, "I do not want to be here. I do not care to talk to you." That's that. Like he hasn't made one statement.
Right. Well, again, I think
Wild.
he's trying to make a statement in his behavior and his actions. Saying no to Doc Rivers is a great example of that. But I think he's failing to realize that these other teams are watching how he acts. Nobody wants him on their team. Nobody wants that energy going into the season. I like, it's one thing if you're good and you have a bad attitude, but when you're average with a bad attitude, stay home. Like, enjoy
Yeah,
pickup
it's
basketball in
not.
the rec center. I'm
He
over it.
could have came and played hard for the first half of the season and tried to force a trade again in December. Like there were so many different ways he could have played this, and now it's just funny. Did you see the picture of Rich Paul? His agent is now dating Adele.
Dating Adele.
Adele, like the Adele, the one who just her new song is fire. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, she's dating him. And they're just
What?
sitting
I
on the
didn't know.
sideline, just watching the games, like hanging out. And I'm like, meanwhile, his, client Ben Simmons is just crying like a little
Crumbling.
baby.
Crumbling at the seams. Ben Simmons is crumbling at the seams, people. Oh my gosh, what a nightmare.
Well,
Either
happy
way,
to have NBA back though. It's good. We have a
I
lot of things that
know.
we'll probably be talking about throughout the season. I'm excited to see how some of these teams play. Of course, it is a long season, guys. Start finding some of those trends. A lot of good
Of
ones are
course.
usually first half trends. I feel like a lot of them were hitting last season early.
One of my favorite
Keep an eye
first
out.
half bets last year was the Grizzlies in the first half. They always came out swinging. That was a bet I could bet with very little handicapping and know that it was going to hit. That was a big one for me last
Same
year.
with the
Again,
Suns.
yeah, so just look at stuff like that. I mean, I'm looking at the Grizzlies score right now. It's 47-38. There's about 8 minutes left in the second. So we'll see if that trend continues into this year. But yeah, that was a really fun bet for me last year. It was Grizzlies in the first half. So
Yeah, I
look
think
at
the
some of the
Suns
fun
did
trends.
something crazy, like 30 consecutive first half covers, 31 or 32. It was insane. It was like it was
I love
wild.
the NBA. I love the NBA, especially right now. I think this is a great time of the year because, kind of like you had said a little while back, you were like, it's nice now that we have some stuff in between football. So if you have a bad betting day in football, like you've
Mhm.
got time to make it up. You've got all these games. Like there was a pretty big slate tonight to look at.
Mhm. 11
So it just
games.
makes it fun when you know that you've got like things to look forward to. When it was just NFL, it just kind of felt like, oh,
Mhm.
I lost really bad on Monday night. Now I got to wait till Thursday night. Now I got to wait till
Yeah.
Sunday. And it's like, it kind of feels
And
like a
also,
trap.
it's so much more digestible just given that the roster is not huge. You're actually seeing their faces. It's like a
Yes.
superstar type league. And
Yes.
again, it's 30 teams. It's just so easy to like understand how each one of these teams functions
Yeah.
day in and
No,
day out.
absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's the one part and one advantage I think compared to if you're betting Major League Baseball or hockey or something like that with a huge roster and knowing all the teams, it's just a totally different ball game. So
Totally.
excited to have it back.
Very,
So since we kind
very
of talked
excited.
about, or you mentioned NFL, we'll get into that. I hate this slate so much. I think it's the
Oh,
worst slate that I've seen in a
it's not
in
a
a
good one.
while. And we're at the point where teams are getting injured left and right. So Thursday night football, as we know, Baker Mayfield will not be playing. Case Keenum is going to step in. He'll be playing Teddy Bridgewater and your Broncos. I thought today would have been a good idea if as soon as that news broke, I thought the line was going to change right away. It sat at -3 for a little bit, and I was like, this is a good time to take the Broncos money line. And then now that line keeps moving down. I believe it's at 1.5 right now in the FanDuel Sportsbook for Thursday Night Football. And that total
Yeah.
keeps coming down too. I mean, injuries on both teams, on
Yeah,
both
there
sides of the
is.
ball, basically, at this point.
This is a really tough one for me because obviously you've got no Baker Mayfield. The Browns had a lot of injuries before Baker was even announced that he wasn't playing, and I kind of felt
Odell's now
apprehensive about
questionable
that.
too.
Yeah, so they have a lot of questionable, injuries and stuff going on, but it's hard for me because the Broncos are my team. I definitely think after their little 3-0 run, they definitely took a little bit of a turn. I do think that this is a must-win game for Vic Fangio. I think he really needs to prove himself as a coach of this team because this Broncos team, like I said, they were doing awesome. Everyone was hyped up, and now they're kind of tanking down a little bit. I have heard or seen or read that Teddy Bridgewater has been practicing this week, and he is planning to play. Melvin Gordon is off the injury list, so the Broncos are slowly getting back some of their stars, but it's tough. I don't know. I kind of want to stay away from this one just because it is my team and I do have that bias towards the Broncos.
It's going to be such a sharp line because it's Thursday Night Football, just like Monday Night Football and those primetime games. There's so many people betting on this, but this is the one game I'd say go to player props if you even want to bet this. I'm staying the heck away from this game. I know it's Thursday Night Football, but I don't like it. Also, looking down the slate, there's some really long spreads. We got the Rams versus the Lions. Lions 15.5-point underdogs. Then Bears Bucks. Bears are 12.5-point underdogs. Texans Cardinals 17.5-point underdogs. So if we had to go with one of these teams, kind of a long shot, I kind of like the Bears to cover against the Bucks. I feel like that's a situation where they potentially could. Also, the Lions cover a lot too.
Yeah, yesterday
the Texans, all three of these teams. I might just take all three of
I
these
know.
dogs since all the favorites hit last week in
Literally.
that 1 p.m. slate.
Yeah, yesterday FanDuel posted my leans video. Bears was actually one of those. It was at 12.5. I'm not sure what it is.
Yeah, it's still
right
12.5 right now.
So yeah, yesterday they posted my leans video, and the three that I liked, they were actually all three underdogs.
Love it.
But one of them was Bears plus 12.5. The other one was Titans plus 5.5, which I really like that one.
That's moved.
The Chiefs
4.5. So good thing you got it at 5.5.
I did get it at 5.5, which was nice. And then the other one that I was kind of leaning towards was Colts plus 3.5. I feel like this is a team that's kind of heating up right now. And they're going up again. Who are they playing again? Hold on. 49ers. And the 49ers potentially have two injured quarterbacks going into this game. I think they're both kind of a question mark there on who's going to be the QB. So I was liking the Colts as well. I think I'm leaning towards the dogs to cover this week. I don't love that there's 3 double-digit spreads for this weekend slate. I really don't like that. I might just bet
all 3 of them and put them in a parlay.
Well, and my thought too on this Bears team is this Bears defense I think is pretty underestimated. And I think it's strong enough to definitely get some stops on this Bucks team and hang in and at least keep the game closer than 12.5. Not to mention, I think 12.5 is way too many points considering this Bucks team is 2-4 against the spread. So I like the Bears. I think that that's a good one, especially when it's that big. I mean, 12.5.
Brady always pulls off the win, but the against the spreads, you kind of sweat that out. Same thing with the Kansas City Chiefs. They were able to cover the spread last game, which was good for them. But before that, obviously, terrible record. Then you have the Dallas Cowboys, who are 5-0 against the spread. They are on a bye week, so we won't be able to see them this week. But they
I was on an airplane. I was flying home from a bachelorette party. And I was on an airplane watching the Sunday night or the Sunday slate. Quite a few Patriots. Okay, I didn't know this, but there's a lot of Patriots fans in Florida. Is that like a thing that people knew?
Really? Well,
they had like jerseys and stuff.
Brady.
It was. I don't know. It was.
You got
weird.
the Dolphins and you
stuff everywhere, and I just didn't think that like it was weird to me. I don't know. Either way,
Noah's actually kind of a side note, very odd to me, and just in terms of fan bases, like the Detroit Pistons. I know they're not obviously good, but like their opening night, there was nobody in the stands. Philadelphia, if we were terrible, it would still be a packed house. I don't understand other sports cities. I don't.
Well, yeah, no, that's weird. I mean, really, there was nobody? It wasn't packed?
It was not packed.
Are they full capacity?
Oh, good point.
I feel like it's kind of different from state to state. So
maybe that's why. So when I was watching them do the opening ceremony, whatever they were doing, the anthem and whatnot, and I was like, there is nobody at this game.
So just to check in with you guys here, really quick, Yeah, KCP still has 0 points. So shout out to me for the player prop. Shout out to me for taking the over on KCP's points. He currently has 0 at halftime. So that's super cool. But either way, we're not gonna get too emotional about
You
it.
have a double, correct, for Joelle
So
tonight?
yeah. So I
Okay.
have 2 different parlays. I tweeted out. So before
I saw
people
the
yell
one you
at me,
tweeted.
'cause
It was wild.
sometimes they say, Olivia, why didn't you share that? First of all, I'm not obligated to share my bet slips with you. Okay. I choose to do that. First of all, I did tweet out earlier today. I said Bulls -5. Then I did tweet out later. I said there is a lot of public money on this Bulls team. It makes me nervous. Something in my gut says the Pistons pull off the upset. Oh my God. You would have thought that I told everyone they were ugly. The timeline was jumping over this comment, but I did make 2 separate parlays for player performance doubles. Okay. So one of them has Grant to score 20 plus and a Pistons win, and the other one has Zach LaVine 25 plus and a Bulls win. So I did do a little hedging situation, but I told people that I was going to do that. But yes, in both of those, I have Joel Embiid for a double and a 76ers win. So hopefully that goes.
They're up right now, up 7. Joelle's got 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 12 points. We need some other players to step up.
Every time I post a sneaky every time I create a sneaky parlay, people get very upset with me that I don't share it. But the same people that get upset I don't share it are the same people that would roast me if it didn't hit. I'm like, I don't want to subject myself to bullying today. I don't want to be bullied today. So I chose to not share it. Yeah, it is what it is. Either way, yes. KCP, shout out to him. Shout out to Jarrett Allen, who has 0 rebounds. I took the over on his rebounds. So it's looking like a really solid night for me, just in case anyone cared. Super solid.
Yeah, all my bets are looking like right now at this moment, they would all cash. But again, you got to play the full 4 quarters.
Did you guys hear? Just Erin just flexed on me. She just flexed on me so hard.
But we're like in the second quarter of the 76ers game. We're in the fourth quarter of Bulls Pistons. We're all over the map in these games. And now the Hornets are back up. The Hornets are up by 2. And I was just saying Pacers. Weren't they just up by 20?
No. I was just going to say the Hornets.
The Hornets just came back.
I don't know what they were sipping on in the locker room, but they have some good Gatorade because they came out.
From now on, first half spreads only.
Jeez.
I should have bet all of these first half spreads.
Lord have mercy. Oh my Lord. Yeah, you know what?
That's absurd. The Pacers need to figure it out. That's embarrassing. Can't be done.
Yeah, come on. What's going on? What's going on with that? I don't know.
All right, well, let's get a girls who bet best bet before we bring on our special guest.
What do we feel? Are we wanted to?
I feel like since we both like the Bears, should we do plus 12.5 as our girls who bet best bet for NFL? And then we'll figure one out for NBA.
Well, let me start by asking first, is there a dog that you like to win outright? Because I got to say, that Jags money line bet we had, not to brag on you, not to brag.
But I told you Jags were London's team.
That was pretty clutch of us.
That was a good one.
Is there a dog you I have seen some chatter.
I'm going down right now. The only one that would be close enough to kind of bet would be the Dolphins to beat the Falcons, but I don't even like that.
Ew.
Eagles to beat the Raiders.
Colts to beat the 49ers. I could see that maybe.
Yeah, I feel like out of all of them,
let's play it safe.
Really
let's go Bears 12.5. Let's go Bears 12.5.
All right, I'm down with any of the double-digit dogs. I think all of them can cover.
I'm getting. Oh, we do a little bit of a
three-way parlay action? Lions, Bears, and Texans all to cover. That is the largest spread ever.
I wish they were all animals. We could call it the animal parlay. No, that was
weird.
What do you mean? Anyway,
well, wait. What is a Tex? No, Texans. Is it a bull?
Well, I think it's your mascot looks like a bull, right?
I mean, yeah, but is Texans because of like Texas? I'm assuming.
Somebody
I don't know my animals.
Let us know if a Texan is an animal because now we're confused. Either way, I think I think it should be called the double.
We can do Lions and Bears. Oh my!
Double-digit dog parlay. Triple D.
You get what I'm saying though? The Lions. What is it?
What?
Tigers and Lions and Bears. Oh my! From Wizards of Oz. No?
Texans and Lions and Bears. Oh my! No, that's good.
The song, or there was
yes. Okay. Yes. That's it,
We're
Erin.
getting somewhere with our
We're going
animals.
with
It's
it.
actually quite tragic. It's not as bad as
That's
never
so
mind. I
good.
can't even say what the one time I had texted Liv about a state, and we're not going to get into it.
No, no,
because
no. Actually, I think we might need to. I think we might need to. Okay.
That
So
would have been
listen,
my worst text ever. Liv is like, we should go to Memphis. And I'm like, yeah, where is it? Middle of the country. She's like, are you kidding me? I'm like, no, seriously, where is the state of Memphis? And she was like, Erin. And I was like, oh my God.
I said,
I went to Catholic
pause.
school. We didn't do geology. We did religion. We many religion classes. So didn't
Memphis
work
is
out.
where Elvis died on the toilet. Graceland.
Isn't that a myth that he died on the toilet? Or did he
I
actually
don't
die on
think
the toilet?
so. I think he actually croaked on the toilet.
Dear God, R.I.P. It's not funny. I just it's such a
Okay.
random fact.
I think we've said enough at this point.
I think we need to bring on our guest.
Absolutely, because listen, she is a powerhouse with content. I think she easily has the most creative content on the Twitter sphere or any sphere.
Yes.
And she is a football legend, in my opinion. So I want to bring her on before I pronounce her last name because I don't want to mess it up. So Annie
All right, let's bring on Annie.
is on, but I want to hear what her last name is pronounced because we had a little bit of discussion before the show, and I want to make sure I'm not butchering it. So Annie, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
We're so excited.
It's pronounced Agar.
Agar. Okay.
Agar.
Was you-
Agar,
were you
Agar.
close?
Now we got it down.
Were you
I think
close
some of
enough?
us said Agar and then some said Agar, but we know
It's
it now.
been
So we're
like
good.
a jar before, so it's you can't go wrong. Just
She
hang
responds to whatever at this point.
basically, yes.
Well, Annie,
So
thanks
Annie,
for joining us. We
Thanks for
appreciate
having
it.
me. I was really enjoying your conversation before, so
us embarrassing ourselves.
No, I do that all the time.
openly.
It's great.
Every Wednesday night we embarrass ourselves. It's just kind of becoming a ritual at this point. But I guess since you heard, how do you feel about the Texans and Lions and Bears oh my parlay? That's
I
gonna
like
work.
that. I like that a lot. I know as I was looking forward to these games, there's those three of the spreads are 10 points. I think those are the only three where their 10 points are higher, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And I other than maybe the Texans, I'm strong on the Lions covering because I think they're 3-3 against the spread. So that one should be a good one. But the Texans are just Davis Mills. I was riding the whole Davis Mills. Oh, we love him. He's amazing. Love that his neck is like a mile long. But other than that, I'm not a fan of him now. Like, I don't think there's any kind of, he struggled last week, but I don't know. I just don't see him covering that big of a spread. So other than that, I love it. I love the idea.
I know it's hard to put your trust in Davis Mills. Let's be real. I mean, it's a tough situation for sure.
So Annie, we wanted to make sure to get you on the show because you make, as Liv said, some of the most creative content, and some of those videos that you put out, I'm like, how much work goes into these, and where did you come up with this concept? How long does it take? You have all these questions about these awesome, obviously, little content pieces that you make about these teams being in meetings. So you can kind of give us some background info on that.
Yeah, for sure. So this whole crazy idea happened when COVID took over. Excuse me, getting a cold or something. It's not COVID. When COVID started, it was great timing. And I was working in local news. I was a sports reporter, and we didn't have anything to cover, obviously, because we covered a lot of high school sports. All high school sports weren't happening anymore. And I kind of there was a dark cloud over America, basically, right? Because I was over the world because we didn't have any sports. March Madness had just stopped. We were ramping up for Big Ten football because the spring games were happening, and I was looking forward to going. I was, looking for storylines at Michigan State and Michigan. Those were primarily who we covered, and all of it just kind of stopped. And it was really hard for me, as I'm sure a lot of other people in sports, because we didn't know what ESPN was trying to fill content. We were trying to find things to do. And I just had gotten on TikTok. I have a younger sister who was 17 or 18 at the time. And I remember she just laid into me like, you don't know what you're doing. You're not going to understand half of it. I didn't even know where the record button was. So I was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing on here. But it was fun to, just watch and observe, and kind of got the idea that maybe I'll just do a TikTok now and then. And so I started doing TikToks, and then I figured out it was a really cool way to do kind of the videos that I enjoy doing. And I didn't really have this concept in mind. I just kind of started doing it because it fit really well with, I guess, my humor, and my family has that kind of self-deprecating sports humor where you tend to make fun of the teams and the players, because nobody is gonna, nobody can deny that. Yeah, like the Lions, they suck. I'm sorry, that's just how it is, so we just grew up with that. It probably is because I'm in Michigan. My whole family is like, they're all Lions fans, so they just know self-deprecating is what we live with. Anyway, we'll get to that. So I had this idea to look at Big Ten football because that's what I grew up with. And I figured if all of us are doing these Zoom calls, we all have these kind of video chats going on, they must be doing the same thing. But how funny would it be to have all the teams in the conferences trying to talk to each other when I know for a fact Michigan and Michigan State hate each other. I mean, their administration hates each other, not just the teams. So I thought how funny it would be to demonstrate that in a video. And the first one was super, I didn't have a script. I just went off of what I knew about the teams because that's, we knew what kind of their personality was based on how their fans interact and all that kind of stuff. So I put that into a video and it went crazy on Twitter, and TikTok apparently liked it too. So then it just started from there.
I love it. Awesome. It's so funny you bring up TikTok because I am the oldest of 4 and my youngest sister is 12. Well, she'll be 12 in the next couple weeks. And God, TikTok is like the thing. And it's like, it's so crazy how I'll walk upstairs and she's like concocting stuff in the kitchen. And I'm like, what is that? And she's like, it's a stain remover hack that TikTok taught me. I'm like, what are you doing? But it's like it's like our version of Vine, I feel like. And Vine was so popular and so entertaining. But I will say on the flip side of that, from like the sports world perspective, I feel like it's a really great way to like grow a following and get exposure because it happens so fast on TikTok. Like you get a TikTok that goes viral and now all of a sudden it's like you kind of blow up essentially. Like, do you feel like it kind of happened really fast, how you blew up and how people were like all over these videos? Because I was watching through your stuff and I was like, oh my gosh, the views and the interactions that these get. I mean, people really love them. Do you feel like it happened super quick?
Yeah, I think TikTok has figured out a way, and everybody's trying to figure out the algorithm and how, if you do this hashtag, this, whatever. I don't know. I haven't figured it out, obviously, but I think it does a really good job of tailoring your videos to the people that want to see them because everybody's experienced it, I'm sure, but you say, or you like, not necessarily say, but you like a certain video about like a food recipe, you start seeing a bunch of those videos. So I think TikTok does a great job of pushing it all out. But it does feel like it happened super quickly. I posted today, actually, one of my most recent videos hit 2 million views and I literally posted it I think it was Monday night. And it's now Wednesday. I'm not even kidding you guys. I looked at, I posted it because I just thought, it wasn't my weekly video. It was just kind of a fun one to a TikTok sound. And I posted it. I think I went and watched the game or whatever. I got back on at night and it was up to 40,000 likes. So it just happens like that on TikTok.
It does.
And that blows me away because I see on Twitter, like I try to really get it out there on Twitter and I try to interact with my followers on Twitter. TikTok is it's just a whirlwind. It's crazy. So it's super fun. I mean, it is a great way to connect with people because people comment and then they comment on those comments and like I'll watch a video and I jump right to the comments. So I love that interaction on social media. And I think that's what keeps me kind of motivated to keep doing these videos because I love the people I've connected with so far. And even in our industry, like you guys, I wouldn't have, who would have known how this would have happened had it not been for social media. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah. And I think COVID kind of pushed everybody even more so onto social media and their phones. And one thing that Liv and I have expressed to each other when we've been talking is just how different, even from going to school, the broadcast journalism world that we learned is so different than it is now. And in the next couple of months, it'll be different than it was, these past 3 months. It just is changing consistently. So keeping up with those trends. But do you kind of feel that maybe this was what you're doing now is a different path than what you would have done had you not, let's say, blown up on TikTok? Do you think you would have went that traditional route, or do you think that you really enjoy having the creative freedom to make these videos?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when I was in local news for my loved my bosses. I cannot say enough good things about them. They'd both been in the industry for 30 plus years, great guys. And then I had a couple, people I looked up to in the industry. I was able to talk with Tracy Wolfson one time. She gave a speech in Grand Rapids, which is where I'm from originally. And I remember asking her, my boss has said, this is the way that everybody does it. You go through the local news route, you go live in like Bozeman, Montana, covering Buffalo, and then all of a sudden you're, hopefully at ESPN. And I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've read books about it. That's how everybody did it. But I, first of all, hated that idea. because I do
Same
not
with me
want
and
to
Liv.
live in Bozeman, Montana. And I got a job offer there, and I looked up a video, you guys. It was some female had done a vlog of Montana, and the first thing she said is it was like the dress code there, what everybody kind of wears. And then she worked in local news, and she said, "Well, get rid of all your impractical clothes, like heels and night shirts." I'm like, that is all that I own. I have a lot of t-shirts now, which is really nice. But yeah, so it just was not. It wasn't what I was looking forward to, but I knew you had to put in the time. When I worked in local news, I worked 20-hour days when it was Michigan State games. I mean, you drive an hour and a half or 2.5 hours to Ann Arbor, cover the game, cover the presser, wrap it, do a pack, bring all your equipment by yourself. It was a one-man band, and then you drive back an hour and a half and like catalog all your stuff and everything like that. So it was a lot of time, and I see how people can just die in this TV industry because it's so tough on you. But I knew, I always had that goal. I knew where I wanted to go. Never would I have ever thought that I would be a content creator, or that I loved the idea, but I didn't think that was a way to get where I wanted to go. And I tell, when I've spoken to a couple classes before too, and I tell everybody this, I'm like, you bring something different to the table that nobody else does. So figure out what that is, and really, it could be maybe, you don't really realize how to use it yet, but it's so different than anybody else, and really focus on that, and then make that your career goal. Like keep your end result, which is fine, have that in the the distance, wherever you want to be, but really think about maybe creating something different. And it's super scary because if I think Erin said that, if it took COVID for me to really get out of my comfort zone and realize there's got to be another way to get there, because the normal way isn't here for anybody. So it was it was wild to me, and I would love to write a book about it someday, or some down the line, hopefully help other people kind of maybe see that it is super scary, but there are other ways to get to where you want to go, maybe ways that people haven't even thought of yet.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I think I don't know how. I know Erin's a couple years older than me. I'm 23, so I graduated college in 2020. So I get called young. I don't feel that way, but I get called young whenever I'm
You're an old soul, Liv.
I'm a very old soul. I would rather hang out with the old people than I would the people my own age. It's how I've always been. But I graduated very recently, and I have a lot of people that message me, a lot of females specifically that message me, they're graduating college soon and they really want to get in the industry, or they really want to get into sports betting. And that is something that I have said to them so many times is, you have to be different. Like, you have to bring something that nobody else does. And I think, and this is not a knock on anyone, but I see a lot of people that graduate and join the space and create videos just like somebody else. You can tell who they admire or who their role model is, because their videos almost feel like copycat versions. And again, that's also how you grow and learn. And I'll be the first to say, when I first joined the space, I would rely on the people like Minty Betts, like Ariel Epstein, like Kelly in Vegas. You watch their stuff and you try to learn, and so it makes sense. But if you aren't different, no one's gonna watch yours if they've already been watching somebody else's that's just like that. And so I've said that to them so many times. I spoke to a class at LSU, and I also just have people graduating from my alma mater and messaging me. And I think that's a really important thing for people to remember, is if your video looks just like somebody else's and that person's been in the industry for 2, 3, 5 years, no one's watching your stuff. You've just got to figure out what makes you different. And I think that's why I love your content, is because nobody's doing anything like it, and I think that's why you blew up the way that you did, is because people were like, this is refreshing. Like, we don't get to see this, because it was so different. People really, really liked that. So it's like, you got to figure out what you're good at, number one, but number two, like, how can you stand out? How can you be different from everybody else? And it's not easy. I don't think people realize that being creative or having a job,
a lot of brain power.
It's a lot of brain power. And I think it's easy too for people to, from the outside, look in and say, oh, your job is so fun. And yes, it is. We are so lucky to do what we do, which is talking sports and making content. But I don't think they realize the behind the scenes of every video that goes out there that is so enjoyable to watch. It's a lot of work. So, all power to you. I don't know if I could switch outfits the way you do. I can't even, I struggle to put one outfit on during the day.
You guys see at the end of the videos, my hair is like,
and I don't know if I can do it.
It's just part of
How long will it actually take you from start to finish to film one of those videos?
That's a great question. So I kind of got a system down, which is great. I moved to Chicago, so I have a space now, and I'm like, this is great. So I watch the games all day Sunday, and try and take notes, and I just and then I have for Bally Sports, I do a show at night with Serena Morales. So we get on and we report the games. Yeah, so that's great. And then I kind of summarize everything that night. I just get everything in my head, let it marinate a little bit. And then Monday morning I wake up and I just kind of go through everything. I go through Twitter, like, oh my gosh, for an hour, maybe 2 hours, just looking through what people have been talking about. I go to fan bases and make sure the jokes that I think I'm going to make line up with what they're feeling, because I want to make sure I'm speaking for the fans. So that's a process. So from, Sunday through Monday, and then usually I finish shooting the video, hopefully like 4 or 5 o'clock on Monday. So all day Monday is kind of spent getting everything ready, making sure it's all lined up, edited, everything like that. So it's a process.
Yeah, that's something people don't realize. Even if it's a short clip, the amount of knowledge, the same thing goes with betting. I know Liv brought this up of emulating people. Actually taking 2 years to understand the betting industry and taking that time, it helps you out in the long run. And I mean, the videos just keep getting better and better, funnier and funnier, more people relating to them. So love that they're blowing up. But one thing we wanted to play with you was this little game called This or That, just to kind of get to know you even more and have our audience get to know you even more. So I'll start off with one.
Okay.
These are all sports related.
Oh, perfect.
Would you rather watch the games at a bar or be at the tailgate watching the game?
Ooh, that's a great one. Probably tailgate. I really like throwing a football. Like I love
all around the tailgate.
He's an athlete, y'all.
Atmosphere. I love that atmosphere. I love bars. Don't get me wrong, but I love being out at tailgates, and I don't really get the chance to now. I think because of work. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So I have a funny little. So I have a phobia, and my phobia is throw up. Okay. So you have to remember, I was a TCU showgirl, so I was on the dance team. So I never tailgated because I was always on the field with the band before the game, whatever. So I never got to experience a true college tailgate. And plus, TCU is a small private Texas Christian university. So people aren't really tailgating as hard as they would at West Virginia, where my brother goes. And I went and visited him, and he took me to a tailgate. Every other person near me was throwing up on the ground, and I was about to have a full-fledged panic attack. I could not handle, and the way that everyone there was just so calm about it, like they're just walking, they throw up, they keep walking. I'm like, when I throw up, like I'm down.
It's a vibe.
It's like a college vibe. You reached peak college status when you can just puke and then just keep going. Like
puke and rally.
Puke and rally. But all I have to say is that question. All I think of when I hear tailgate now is people in the hot sun, dehydrated, drinking all day, throwing up everywhere, and I just can't do it. So I had to throw that in there. It was the most terrifying.
Your answer to that question would definitely be bar.
100%. A comfy chair in the bar with the AC, that's where I'm at. Absolutely.
Oh, that is so funny.
I have one for you.
Okay.
Never watch sports again or watch your least favorite team for the rest of your life. And that's the only team you can watch.
That is a really good one. I would watch I do already. I watch the Lions every Sunday, you guys, and it's let me tell you, that is the equivalent of watching paint dry. Sorry, Goff and
hey. You know what? No need to apologize, because didn't the head coach of the Lions just come post game last game? He was like, Goff is not doing his job, and I was like, oh my God! If your own coach is saying that, like, you have a big problem at your.
People were saying that about him though when he was at the Rams. They kept saying that over and over, and some people agreed, some people didn't. But now we're seeing it firsthand.
This game is like it's like a divorce. It's like two people have gotten divorced, and now they're meeting for the first time, and one of them looks like they've gained 50 pounds and can't throw a football, and it's Jared Goff.
So, and the other one's like a VS model,
and the other
real good.
All right, three other ones. This is a good one. Okay. Would you rather be the star on a bad team or an average player on an elite team?
Oh.
So you could be the best person on a bad team or average.
I feel like I've talked about this before. I think I'd rather be I'd be a good player on an average team, because hopefully I can bring up everybody else. Like hopefully,
there you go.
We got
work with the team to get there.
And I'm average, I don't know what I can bring to the table.
That reminds me of like Bradley Beal. He's so good, and then the Wizards just can't help him out. So,
but you know what?
I agree with you.
It kind of seems like with Beal, like he wants to be there, and it's like the weirdest thing to me.
I hope he comes
blows
to Philly.
my mind, and maybe he's got that same mindset where he's like, I'd rather be the star on a bad team than be, swallowed up.
No, he was dropping like 50
knows?
50-point games last
I
season
know.
and was like, this isn't good enough. I'm like, oh God, what more could this man do?
He's an animal.
We
Okay,
talked to Ben Simmons.
I have another one for you. Would you rather win the World Series or win the Super Bowl?
Win the Super Bowl.
I figured that was going to be your answer.
Win the Super Bowl.
Got
I love the
to.
World Series. I do. My dad played baseball, actually. He played for the Tigers for 3 or 4 years. And
cool.
I played softball, love baseball, but Super Bowl is just...
It's
that's
next
just
level.
Yes.
It is. It really is.
Love
Erin,
it.
you have one more, right?
No, I actually don't. I thought I had one more, but you wrapped it up on the 4.
Well,
What a great
Super Bowl. That is the way to
There
end
we
it
go.
right there. That is the way to air. So speaking of Super Bowl, I guess this is kind of a futures question. And I know I don't think you do a ton of sports betting, but just from a watching perspective, which teams are on your radar? I know it's early, it's only week 7, but which teams do you see enough potential in to potentially be in the Super Bowl come February?
Gotta go Cardinals. Cardinals is probably my number. I mean, obviously they're 6-0, but they are such a fun team to watch. And
So
JJ
fun.
Season, when that whole thing happened, I thought, dear God, they're doing it. Like they want this team to be the team. Kyler Murray, oh my gosh, Hopkins, like this is just a stellar team. So obviously we'll watch out for them. I am looking at the Packers, not biased.
We have
Me and Liv are both on the Packers. Those were our futures bet. 12-1.
To be honest with you, though, I kind of gave up on them after they burned me in a 7-leg parlay in week 1 against
Liv
the
will
Saints.
not let this, like, you will not live this down. You
I
will
bring
talk
this
about
up
this until the
every
Super Bowl.
Single
Were
week.
they the only ones that didn't hit? The Packers?
Only once, and the rest of them were underdogs.
Oh,
Yeah, that was wild. You
devastating
took,
thing.
yeah,
They're the
That
worst.
that was a
devastating.
bad parlay.
You know, there's a team that you want to love, and then they just let you down. Look at week 1.
It's true.
I don't even want to talk about week 1. It's like it never happened to me.
I know, and I think
on
with week
Chicago,
1,
it's okay.
right, and with week 1 too, it's one of those things where you kind of have to tread on what you don't know what you're going to get in week 1. You don't know what these teams look like, what the QBs look like, but I also love the Cardinals. I've been hot on them since the beginning. I actually sprinkled $25 for them to win their division at plus 500. So I'll walk away with 150 if they end up cashing out for me. So fingers crossed that your prediction is correct and the Cardinals hang in there, because I love this team. They're so fun.
I know. It's been a good football season for everybody.
It has. No, it has.
Yeah, I mean, being a Lions fan is tough. Being an Eagles fan right now is tough. So I get it. I know it's.
Oh yeah, I see the helmet. Shoot.
Yeah, you're like
He said shoot.
That's basically needs to be clipped off and put out for all our Eagles fans that follow me.
Literally.
But we're so happy that you got to come on. Everyone got to learn even more about you. Everyone already loves all of your content. It's great. Keep it up. We'll be tuning in and watching all of it for sure.
Of course. And you're a fan favorite, Annie. So thank you so much for being on and joining us. And maybe closer to Super Bowl, we'll bring you back on and do a little check-in on all things football. We'd love to have you back on here. So thanks for joining.
I love it.
Yes.
Awesome.
All right. Bye, Annie. It was good to get to talk to you. All right. Well, Liv, episode 7 in the books.
Episode 7, man.
Episode 7. I feel
Time
like it's
flies
flying by.
when you're having fun. Okay, before we get off here, I gotta check on these props, man. Let me tell you something.
I know, we gotta check really quickly and then we'll sign
really
off.
quick, and then we'll wrap. The Timberwolves
All right, Raptors are up. Let's
The
go.
Timberwolves are up 72-45 at half to the Rockets. So there you go. Let's see. Okay, the Bulls. Yeah. There we go, Bulls. They're up by 4.
They're up by 3.
Oh my God, 20 seconds left. 4, 5, 6.
I need the Pistons plus 5. The
No,
Pacers are
Erin,
up by
I
1.
need the Bulls
Wizards plus
-5.
3. I also tweeted money line accidentally. I put Wizards money line and then the plus 3. I was not thinking, but I said plus 3. I didn't mean money line, but clearly I meant money line.
We're fading each other right now. I need the Bulls minus 5.
All right, well they're 4. They're up 4 right now.
Mine
Hopefully
says
it's a
they're
push.
up by-
Hopefully it's a push.
Mine says they're up by 6 right now.
76ers need to figure it out. Damn.
They're tied at half.
It's bad. I mean, the spread was 3, but still, come on. But yeah, I have the game on right here. Ooh, Bulls are covering right now. Or sorry, excuse me. Yeah, they are. Sometimes I do math in my head too much, and I'm just like, I don't even know what number and how to subtract. Did you ever do that?
Absolutely. My brother.
Wait, when I was talking.
This is actually a funny thing. My
ahead.
brother, every time he has like a total bet or he's got a player prop, the whole game he's using his calculator. And
Oh my gosh, yeah, me too.
because it makes him
no
feel
doubt.
good when it finally gets to 0. Like he will sit there
No
the whole
doubt.
game and he's like, okay, 10 more points. Okay, 8 more points. I'm like, can you stop? Like you're stressing me out. And it's not even my bet.
When I was at Penn State, they actually asked me to calculate the odds in my head if like -1 something. And I was like, what's 14 or what's 100 minus 14? Everyone shout out 86. And I was like, Jesus, Erin, like think before you speak.
Hey, is Memphis a state? I was like,
That's just as bad as me not knowing where Colorado was. It was like, I'm in Colorado. I couldn't tell you where on the map Colorado was, but
I was like, this has to be a joke right now. There's no way she actually thought.
No, that was an accident.
Oh.
Same thing with Cincinnati. I thought Cincinnati was a state for the longest time. Cincinnati's in Ohio. Just found that out recently. I need to look at a map.
Yeah, you gotta get that figured out. Either way, NBA full swing. We've got week 7.
Oh,
We've got a fun Thursday. No, I wouldn't call it fun. We've got a nerve-wracking Thursday night football game happening tomorrow, and we'll be back next week for episode 8.
Yes.
Wow.
Episode 8, almost to 10. Awesome. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Annie was great. And yeah, see you next week, episode 8.
Incredible.
Peace.